Hey everybody, it's Jeff here with Rock Talk, and unfortunately the Doc Rocker is not with me. He couldn't do this close out the year review with me, unfortunately. He's a little bit too busy right now, but hopefully we could get his picks real soon for best album of the year. Like I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my top five and plus some honorary mentions, and I'm gonna talk about some other stuff that came out this year that I had a chance to listen to. I did talk with the Doc Rocker recently over the Christmas break, and he has a lot to say about some of these albums. So hopefully we can get his feedback on them, at a later date. So. Without further ado, we're going to talk about 2021 and what a mess of a year it was. We did have some great releases, though, so I'm going to go through them before we do that. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that. It helps us out. Like and subscribe to this video. It really helps us out. And, of course, join the Doc Rocker Facebook group and talk all about. There's a lot of talk going on right now about favorite albums of 2021. Before I get to that, of course, I want to mention we had a lot of great musicians pass away and a lot of people that were influential to the metal movement also unfortunately passed away. I'll start off January 10th. Marcia Zazula, co-founder of Megaforce Records, she died of cancer at the age of 68. John Hinch, former drummer of Judas Priest, April 29th. Johnny Solinger, former vocalist of Skid Row, passed away from liver failure on June 26th. John Lawton, great vocalist that a lot of people don't know. Before he was in Uriah Heep, he was in a band called Lucifer's Friend. If you haven't checked out Lucifer's Friend, and you like classic metal, you gotta check them out, especially the song Ride. I think it's called Ride the Sky. Excellent song. John Lawton had an excellent voice. He died age 74 on June 29th. Jeff LaBar, former guitarist of Cinderella. Eventually I'll get around to talk about Cinderella, because I really want to do a deep dive with this band, because I think Cinderella was much more than just your glam rock band. And they just kind of get lumped in there with the rest of the hair bands, and going back to listen to some of their albums after Jeff LaBar passed away, there's a little bit more to those albums than I remember, which is they're a really good band, and like I said, they get lumped in with a lot of other bands nowhere near as good. So rest in peace, Jeff LaBar. Also, right around the same time, I think the same day, Gary Corbett, former touring keyboardist of Kiss and Cinderella, he died same day. One that really hit me real hard was July 26th. Mike Howe, vocalist of Metal Church, committed suicide. That hit me real hard, even more so than this next one. Also on July 26th, Joey Jordison, former drummer of Slipknot, he passed away. Also got to mention Eric Wagner, vocalist of The Skull and former vocalist of Trouble. If you're into doom metal, you're into stoner rock, you got to know of Trouble. They were one of the early adopters of that stoner rock sound. Eric Wagner passed away from COVID-19. We had a lot of weird things happen. Like, for instance, Marco from Nightwish just giving up. He departed the band and the public eye. He doesn't want anything to do with music in general, which was really, really weird, because he was one of, to me, he added this uniqueness to Nightwish. Also in January, Iced Earth founder John Schaefer, he appeared in the most wanted section of the FBI after being photographed taking part of the 2021 storming of the United States Capitol. May 24th, Dave Mustaine announced that Megadeth has officially parted ways with Dave Ellefson for the second time after Dave Ellefson was accused of sexual misconduct. 2021 was a big year for some returning heavyweights, we'll say. I do have a top five, and I'm just going to go right at the top of the list. Here you go. I'm not going to bury the lead anymore. My favorite album of 2021 by far has to be Halloween. The reunited Halloween with the three vocalists. To say this album is the album of the year for me would be an understatement. Overall, this album, I believe, is a perfect representation of the band's history, the epic farewell to their former conflicts, and brand new beginning. From the Godfathers of power metal. Three singers could have been a mess. I mean, there's three great but different vocalists that take turns going back and forth on this album, and it works way better than I ever thought. I like every song on this album. Songs that really stand out over time, though, would be Skyfall, of course, Best Time, Mass Pollution, Indestructible, Golden Times. Angels is my personal favorite. Even the sillier songs, like Down the Dumps, still good. I still like what they're doing there. And Robot King, I mean, that just screams like cheesy Halloween. I love it. It sounds great. Halloween has never sounded better. And I like I said, three vocalists just kind of weaving in and out of this album. It's fantastic. It really is not. They don't like. They could have just been like, okay, there's two backing vocals and Michael Kiske, the one that was known for the biggest Halloween albums, Keeper Seven Keys Part 1 and 2 back in the 80s. So he's back, and they could have just shined a light on him, and the other guys could have taken a backseat, but that's not what's going on here. It's a fantastic album. I can't praise it enough. My number 2 is Iron Maiden Sinjingsu. That's a runner-up. There's some really great stuff on here, but some stuff that's just way too familiar. They tread way too familiar ground sometimes. I go back to this album actually a lot less than I thought I would. I think if the song, it's a double album. First of all, let me say that it's a double album. So I think if the songs were cut down a bit, every song is 10 minutes long. If you cut them down to 6, it probably would have been a lot stronger album. And I know me and Danton talked about this over Christmas break a little bit, and he's saying kind of the same thing, and he's also saying just cut a few songs off the album completely. I don't know if I agree 100% on that, but whatever. They noodle, they wander off in some tunes, but there's still enough good stuff to say. This is number 2. And number 3 on my list came out June 11th, 2021. Matt Johnson, Brad Miller, and the voice of doom metal, Robert Lowe, put out an amazing doom metal album, Grief Collector and Delirium. Amazing doom metal album. It ranges from riff heavy metal to real sludgy doomy tunes. Some of it will be very familiar to anyone that knows Robert Lowe from his other band, Exalt to Eternus, even his other newer project he's doing with Tyrant, Candlemass. This album actually reminds me of the Solitude Eternus album, Through the Darkest Hour, in a lot of parts. Songs like Corridors, Scorned Heart, Winter Sick, just amazing slabs of doom metal. This is a really, really great album. If you haven't heard it yet, I say go out, check out Grief Collector, get that album as soon as you can. Great performance all around by this 3-piece band. Number 4 is Witherfall, Curse of Autumn. Witherfall, they drew my attention because Joseph Michael is now also the singer for Sanctuary. He did a great job on that tour with them a few years ago. And this album is a great, dark, slightly progressive power metal album. Curse of Autumn is catchy, very chorus-oriented. There's excellent, memorable choruses, catchy stuff. The uptone power thrash of the opening song, it's just great. Another Face, another great song. Tempest, really interesting. And I think it's probably the best song on the album is a song called, it's an epic song called And They All Blew Away. Also, big thumbs up for Marco Miniman playing on the album. Fantastic drummer. He was one of the finalists when Dream Theater was looking for a new drummer back, I think, in 2010. Marco, I believe, was one of the finalists. You can see in this video documentary that's online with Dream Theater looking for a new drummer. Marco's just fantastic. He's a killer drummer, man. He elevates a great album, I think. He does a great job on this album. Number 5, of course, Local Boys, Crowbot. It's Rat Child is a 4-song EP, and it's a very solid 4-song EP. Everyone Dies is probably the most interesting track. It's a great bluesy piano-driven track. Kind of gives me almost like a Queen vibe. There's guest musicians on every track, I believe, on this EP. 4 songs, you can't go wrong with that, and they're all very solid 4 songs. So, looking forward to hopefully another full-length album by Brandon and Crowbot real soon. Other good ones, I have to mention Trivium. I was not a fan before In the Court of the Dragon, but now I am. It's a dash of power metal meets thrash meets metalcore. Like I said, never a big fan before, but hey, I have talent, and this is a pretty interesting listen. That's his brother Adam. Shout out to Adam, who's also the singer in the band that I played for. He made me listen to this on the way to a gig not too long ago, and yeah, I really like how diverse this album is. Really neat. Check it out if you like thrash and metalcore. Next up, it's another one that didn't hit my top 5, but still pretty good and getting better every listen. Dream Theater, A View from the Top of the World. I'm a longtime fan of the band. I've been hooked on Images and Words since 1992. You know, I've been a fan of Dream Theater ever since. But this album didn't grab me like most of the other ones did. But, you know, sometimes Dream Theater albums, they need a few listens to appreciate. But overall, it's a decent album. It's not my top 5. It's not even in my top 5 Dream Theater albums. But it's good. And, again, talking to Danton, he's been going back to this album more and more and more. And I think I need to revisit it. Another great album that came out this year. And another one that Adam got me into because I would have never checked this band out. Spirit Box, Eternal Blue. Damn good album. Vocalist has a great voice. She could scream, you know, with the best of them, but she could also sing. But, you know, if you like the screaming kind of thing, this is a good album for that. She screams a lot. You know, like I said, but she could also sing. The songs are diverse. They have that modern metalcore influence sound, so, you know, some people that turns them off, but it's pretty catchy. If you check out Secret Garden and Circle With Me, if you like those 2 songs, you'll probably like the rest of the album. Good stuff. Another one that I gotta mention is Korpiklani, Finnish folk metal band. They blend traditional instruments with metal. They've been around for a long time. They release a ton of stuff, and they release like an album almost every single year. This one is better than the last few I've heard. It's heavy, but it's also very melodic. It's solid, consistent album. And they do a folk metal cover of Got the Time. You may know that from Anthrax, that cover that I believe it's a Joe Jackson song originally. But they do a cover of it in their own native language, too. Pretty interesting. And one more I have to mention is Todd La Torre, the singer from Queensryche, who took over after Jeff Tate left probably almost 10 years ago. He put out an album this year, and it's good. It's really good. It's not fantastic, but it's good, and it's different. The nice thing is, it doesn't sound like Queensryche, which is, you know, it doesn't sound like a watered down version of Queensryche, you know. Because sometimes when a singer of a band who, especially Todd, who sounds so similar to Jeff Tate, you know, when a singer of a band does a solo album, a lot of times it just sounds like the band he's in. This really isn't the case too much. You can hear it, but it's heavy. It's called Rejoice in the Suffering. He does some really interesting stuff there. So if you haven't heard that one, check it out. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got. As far as the albums I really dug into deep in 2021. There were a few more that I heard that I wasn't impressed with. There are a few more that I heard that I need to listen to again that I didn't mention here that are pretty good that came out. But there's my 5, and there's some other interesting ones that you can check out. So, in the meantime, check them out. Join the Rock Talk group, and we're going to be back real soon with a full-on Rock Talk podcast real soon. Probably going to shoot a new episode, I don't know, maybe second week of January, something like that. We'll be back, and we're going to try to do it more and more on a regular basis like we were doing last year. You know, sometimes, you know, as things, got busier and busier again. We kind of ran out of time. I've been gigging a lot. Dad has been teaching a lot. We've been working a lot. We're doing other stuff a lot. But we still want to get back to doing this at least twice a month, at least. It may not be every week anymore, but we're going to try to make it happen as much as possible. So there you go. There's some albums to check out. And have a great New Year.